Now it's time for Desktop Discussions.
I just got off of a podcast, and during the podcast, they asked me, what would you suggest for young people? And I'm also adding to it, young people or people that are beginning their journey as entrepreneurs or career professionals in a particular industry or in a specific profession. Or simply, here's the third thing, right? People that don't know what they want. And that one thing would be quiet. Hey folks, Sir Charles Carey here, and I talk about things that some people probably find either unnecessary or they expect to hear them from like a psychologist, psychiatrist, or a counselor, which I am a counselor, but I'm also a keynote speaker and workshop facilitator. And one of the things I speak about is the benefits of being quiet. Now, I just got off of a podcast, and during the podcast, they asked me, what would you suggest for young people? And I'm also adding to it, young people or people that are beginning their journey as entrepreneurs or career professionals in a particular industry or in a specific profession. Or simply, here's the third thing, right? People that don't know what they want. And that one thing would be quiet. Now, there's a couple of other things I want to add to it, but I want to tell you why I think quiet is so important. I think, first of all, it's for anybody. But if you are just starting out in your career or you are just starting out as an entrepreneur, the benefit of quiet is because you need to know yourself. And a lot of people may feel that they know themselves, but I'm talking about what really makes you tick, what makes your heart beat faster, what excites you from the inside, what really, gets you to that place where you're tuned in and turned on. You're, so excited about it that you want to know more. You want to do it all the time. And being quiet is a great opportunity for those things to happen. Being quiet provides the landscape, if you will, for things to sort of settle in your heart and in your mind. And I know that for young people, I'll say this. Here's the challenge. This episode is sponsored by our upcoming webinar, 5 Reasons Your Dreams Never See the Light of Day. It's a True Reality Enterprise Ventures, and we want you to get the information and the insight you really need. Look for the link in the description. Most young people want to do what their friends are doing, what their peers are doing, right? They want to hang out, they want to be cool, they want to go places and do things that other young people do. And it makes sense. I get it 100%, because honestly, there are a lot of adults that still want to do those same things, especially those who don't have a very specific area of focus. But if you're a young person, I'm telling you, if you slow down, quiet yourself, spend some time alone, you will realize the benefit of being quiet really will reward you. And I believe it will condition you to appreciate not having to always run and not having to always go, not having to always be busy. There's something they say about people that are always getting ready to get ready, right? So they're shuffling their papers, they're stacking them, they're putting them on a desk, and then they pick them back up, and then they put them in the slot, and then they look around and, they're organizing and reorganizing. They're clearing off the desk, and then they want to wipe the desk down, but they're not really doing any productive activity. And there are a lot of people like that simply because they don't know where to start. They don't know how to start. And they don't understand that if they were quiet and they'd settle into their thoughts and they knew what they wanted to do, the idea would come to them on how to do a thing. Now, I'm not suggesting that being quiet is going to tell you everything, but it's a pointer or a opportunity to get started with having a sense of direction. When you have a sense of direction, it's easy to keep moving in a particular path, right? You have a focus, you know where you're going, and even if you don't know everything that you need to do, while you're on your way, you'll realize you don't have it all or there's something missing. And now you have an opportunity of going back, tracking your steps because you were quiet enough to understand how important it was to go there. But you can also seek help on putting in the missing pieces. Now, it'll be very difficult to do that if you're not quiet, if you're not still, and if you don't know who you are, and if you don't know what you want. And I found that to be very instrumental. Now, I learned a lot of those things when I was young because I was a very inquisitive kid. So I would listen. I would pay attention to what was happening around me. I would listen to the adults. And even though I went off the path as a young adult, when I did get back on the path, it was like riding a bike. I adopted or readopted those same practices so that I can learn more, which positions me to do more, be more, and to have more. Now, let's move on to number 2. What else are the benefits of being quiet, and what else would I suggest to young people that are trying to figure this thing out? Learn to listen. And when I say learn to listen, again, even though I'm speaking about something that young people can do, it's something that a lot of adults or older people miss also. So yes, it can be for anybody, but I'm trying to tailor this specifically for younger people so that when they start out, they can have an unfair advantage. So listening is a good point. There's several ways of listening, obviously. Basically, you can call it observing or direct listening, hearing, right? So when you hear people that have more experience than you do talk about a thing, talk about their profession, talk about a project, talk about a goal, their tips, even if their thing that they're talking about does not have anything to do with the industry or the profession that you're in. How so, Charles? Well, because there is a structure and a blueprint or a foundation to everything in life. And if you have a solid foundation, you can almost build anything on it and it will not crumble. It will not move. The only difference may be the contents on it, the color of it, and those are the things that, can be interchangeable. So listening in an unconventional way or in a general way can be so beneficial if you open your heart and your mind to it. Now, if you're listening from the perspective of asking for advice and suggestions, again, if you, my friend, have not done this particular thing, I highly recommend that you listen so that you can take advantage of what you yourself don't know, have not done, and have no experience in. Now, let me tell you what a lot of people do. Sometimes they don't hear all of it or don't understand all of it, and they continue to move forward under the false premise or under a misguided premise, and they mess up. And then they figure it doesn't work. And a lot of times that happens because they did not ask specific questions or they did not ask questions at all when they were being given this advice. That's one way people mess up after listening, right? Here's another way people mess up after listening. Check this out. You ask someone, how do you do a thing? They tell you how to do it. And you go, oh, okay, yeah, that's good. That's nice. And then when it's going to be adopted and applied to whatever project, you want to do it a little bit different. And then when you don't get the results, same thing happens. You figure it does not work because you didn't get the results, but you're not considering that you changed something. You use different language, use different measurements, use different volume, use different styles or types. Sometimes that can work, but I highly recommend in the beginning, do things the way they are explained to you so that you can get the ultimate or the optimum opportunity of getting the results that you want. Once you do it as it has been explained, then you get the opportunity to change it, color it, modify accordingly, especially if your results yield something specific that you now can, adjust because, you understand that maybe there's some tweaks needed. But don't tweak before you tried it at the first time someone's explained it to you. That's a big important thing that sometimes people don't get. Now, here is a third suggestion that I know it's really important, and people sometimes don't really know because, again, they're new to a thing. It's their first opportunity. They've never tried it and they're just not sure. Ready? I'm ready. You have to learn, and this is something that was told to me as well. Trust yourself. I remember I was in a reality show and there was something that was going on because the reality show was called The Keynote. And within the reality show, there were certain things that we were doing. It was more than a reality show. It was a coaching program, a mastermind, and a reality show all in one. And I asked a question, and when I say, hey, how does this work? I felt as if the person I was asking did not either have the answer or did not want to provide the answer. And I was frustrated because I felt that they should have openly given me a specific, direct answer. That's what I wanted. That's why I asked the question. So I walked away feeling like that's not what I wanted. But soon after, I don't know, maybe a year actually, or maybe even a little longer, as I continue to build my business, coach, do keynotes and workshops, and I was writing books, I started to appreciate the advice of trust yourself. And now let me tell you why. When it's all said and done, your name's on the check. When it's all said and done, your name is on the banner. Your name is on the, what do you call that thing that goes around, right? Your name is the one that people are going to look at. Now, if you don't make a decision, nothing happens. So you have to sometimes trust yourself to make a decision on how you're moving forward. And then you'll learn how good your thinking is, how good your decision making is, and you start to also build up confidence in knowing from growth experience that the way I do things works or either it doesn't work. And, trusting yourself, I think it really says something about your level of maturity. It says something about your growth. It says something about who you are and how you are, period. Because when it's all said and done, once again, you're the name that people will look to. And there's nothing wrong with asking questions and, getting a direct answer. I get that. But there are going to be times that you are the boss. And if you are the boss, you have to make a judgment call. Sometimes right then and there, sometimes maybe a little bit down the road. But regardless of which, you have to be the one that decides whether a thing is worth doing or whether that's a direction you want to move in. And if you have a team, the team is always watching you. So you have to learn how to trust yourself. And hey, look, those of you that like content like this, I highly recommend, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell so you get a notification every time we upload. And if you are not a subscriber, subscribe as I just ask you to, because I know that there's massive value from various topics that we speak about. And we have so many things to offer and so many things that we want to provide for you, but we want your feedback as well. Let us know what you think. Let us know how this has helped you, or if there's certain things you may have felt we have left out. So with that being said, until the next time, remember, you've got to radiate the brain and change the game. I'll see you next time.